Let's talk about something we all think we understand, democracy. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if democracy isn't the solution we're all searching for, but is actually the problem we need to confront? Let's dive into that.
I mean, right now, it really feels like democracy is won, doesn't it? It's the ultimate goal for countries all over the world. It's kind of the one political idea that pretty much everyone can agree is a good thing. It's the gold standard.
And, there's even a name for this. Political thinkers call it the democratic plateau. It's this idea that we've kind of hit a peak, a huge, broad consensus that, yeah, democracy is the way to go. But this is right where the story starts to get really interesting.
Because here's the thing. While we all might say we want democracy, that agreement is hiding a massive disagreement over what that word even means. And that is the core problem we are going to unpack right now.
So to really get what's going on, we have to start with the word itself and its surprisingly controversial history.
So on the surface, the word is pretty simple. It comes from ancient Greek. You've got demos, which means the people, and kratos, which means power or rule. So put it together, rule by the people. Sounds straightforward, right? Well, not so fast. You see, for most of Western history, democracy was basically a dirty word. It was not some noble ideal, it was an insult, a warning against letting the uneducated masses, the mob, take over. Seriously, thinkers from Plato all the way forward were incredibly skeptical, if not outright against it.
This modern, positive spin on democracy that we have now, it's much, much newer. And you can probably trace it back to this one iconic phrase from Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. It just sounds so perfect and simple, but it also hides a massive split personality.
Because buried inside Lincoln's famous words are two totally different ideas of what rule by the people can be. And the choice between them is what defines what kind of democracy you're actually living in. It's a fork in the road. So this brings us to the two fundamental and often competing faces of democracy. It's really a choice between direct rule and indirect rule.
Okay, first up, we have government by the people. This is what we call direct democracy. And the idea is exactly what it sounds like. The public doesn't just pick their rulers, the public are the rulers. They are directly involved in making the laws and decisions themselves.
The classic example, of course, is ancient Athens. It was a government run by mass meetings. There wasn't a separate class of professional politicians we have today. The citizens were in charge. And get this, to make sure power didn't concentrate in the hands of an elite, a lot of public offices were filled by a lottery, just chosen at random.
Now, the other path you can take is government for the people. This is indirect, or what we usually call representative democracy. In this system, the public doesn't govern directly. Instead, they choose a smaller group of people, their representatives, to do the governing for them. So here's the crucial difference. In this model, your participation is pretty limited. It basically comes down to voting every few years. The actual day-to-day work of running the country is handed over to professional politicians. The people's power isn't in writing the laws, it's in their ability to hold those politicians accountable come election time. So given these two totally different ways of doing things, which one won out? Which model do we see almost everywhere today? Well, one has absolutely become the dominant form, shaping just about every modern democracy. And the answer is a very specific hybrid system that has really come to define our entire era: liberal democracy. Yep, this is the one that's spread all across the globe. But that name can be a little confusing. What's the liberal part? And what's the democracy part? Well, it's really a mashup of two different political traditions. Think of it like a building with two main pillars holding it up. The liberal pillar is all about limiting the government's power. It's the idea that individuals have rights, like free speech, that need to be protected from the state, using things like a constitution. Then you have the democracy pillar, which is the idea of popular consent, that the government's power comes from us, the people, which we express by voting in regular, fair elections.
So what you end up with is this really carefully balanced compromise. It's a system that allows for an elite group of experts to do the actual governing, but it keeps their power in check because we, the public, have the power to vote them out. It's indirect rule, but with a crucial safety valve.
But here's the kicker. Even after we've settled on this model as the standard, we find out we haven't really solved the problem of democracy at all. In fact, this whole system of representation creates two of the deepest, toughest questions you can ask.
And that brings us to these big, nagging questions that are always at the heart of the democratic problem. Questions about what it means to represent people and whether a public good can even exist.
So the first question is, what does it actually mean to represent someone?
When we elect a person, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to vote exactly how we would on every single issue, or should they use their own judgment to do what they think is in our best interest, even if we disagree at the moment? Or are they there to represent our group, our identity? There's just no easy answer.
The second question is maybe even harder. We say democracies are supposed to work for the public good. But in a country with millions of people with different beliefs, values, and needs, is there such a thing as a single collective good? And maybe even more importantly, who gets to decide what it is?
Now, all of these tensions and impossible questions might make you think, wow, democracy is just completely broken. But maybe the problem of democracy isn't a bug that we're supposed to fix.
Maybe it's a feature. Maybe the real value of democracy isn't that it gives us all the answers. Maybe its value is that it protects our right to keep asking the hard questions, together. Who are the people? How should they rule? And what is it we're all trying to build?